Joining us live to address the high prevalence and the low awareness of hypertension in Nigeria and to dissect different issues and what's happening, sudden death of Nigerians. He's a senior registrar of family medicine in Lasut and member of the West African College of Physicians. We have Dr. Shoyemi Damilare. Doctor, good morning and welcome to the program.
Wow, a very good morning to you, host this morning. Thank you, Super FM, for this invite, and good morning, everyone joining in from different parts of the world.
All right, thank you very
glad
much.
to be here today.
Thank you very much. Let's go straight into the conversation. Well, the rate at which Nigerians are slumping and dying has become a worrisome development, particularly to medical experts like you. Well, recently, there have been reports of personality who suddenly just slumped and died. Prior to this sudden death, they appeared outwardly by every stretch of imagination very healthy, strong, but inwardly very ill, sick. In most cases, they were reported to have just finished one activity or the other before they slumped and died. Well, hypertension right now is a leading risk factor for cardiovascular and kidney disease globally, contributing to over 10 million deaths each year. In Nigeria, hypertension prevalence has been increasing over the past several decades, with recent estimates ranging from 22% to 44%, which varies by region. But the awareness, the treatment, the control rate remains very, very, very low, and this poses a significant health burden globally. In Nigeria, hypertension right now is on the rise, very, very on the rise, and research has shown that about 30% of Nigerian adult population has hypertension, with some putting the figures even higher than 30%, especially in urban regions. And this amounts to millions of Nigerians with high blood pressure, many of whom are undiagnosed and untreated. This is really worrisome to our dear country, Nigeria. Well, let's begin, Doctor. When we hear the word hypertension, what does this mean, literally, to a layman?
Okay, thank you so much for that very important introduction. In terms of the statistics, very important that we know what is happening currently. But in just like you said, you've asked this question on what hypertension means. You know, there are a lot of people that are actually aware of the term hypertension, but how many people really know what it means? So I like that question. Thank you for that. I'm going to describe it this way. The way the body of man has been made, of course, everyone knows that there are different organs, different parts of the body, and then systems. So the blood is a major part when a human has to live. And the blood that supplies these different organs is what is responsible for the way we are able to function in life. And then let's bring it home to the heart, which is a very important organ in our body. So the heart pumps blood normally, and then that blood circulates to different parts of the human body, including the kidneys, the liver, and even the heart itself. Are we together?
Yes, you're with you. Please go ahead. You're with you. Please go ahead.
You can relate with this.
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much. So hypertension really talks about the pressure that the heart actually, the blood pumps from the heart to on the walls of the blood vessels. So it is the blood vessels from the heart and to different parts of the body, different organs that supply those different organs. So when the pressure, just like we pump water, if you have a pump in your place, for example, in your house, you switch on the pump, but there are connections. There's a source. There's a source of water, and there's the machine that pumps the water. So when this pump works and then moves from where the source is and then moves through the pipes, there's a normal pressure that helps water to get into the different parts of the building. But if for any reason there is a high pressure, just using that to explain this, you can even talk about it as a hose, water hose. There's a normal pressure, but because there is a level of strength that hose has, and then the pipe, if there's a pressure from whatever uh, factor, whether from external, internal factor,
Okay.
that puts pressure on that pipe or that hose can burst. But what we are talking, first of all, is the high blood pressure, which is also known as hypertension. So there's no really difference, just about terminologies.
Okay, so
when
there's no difference between
that
high
level
blood
is
pressure
high,
and hypertension.
there is no difference. So
Okay,
blood
because some
pressure
some
is the
some
pressure
Nigerians will say it like, oh, high blood pressure is kind of different from
is
hypertension.
yeah, yes, we hear that a lot. Some people feel that okay, that is mild. If it's high blood pressure, it is mild.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but that's not it really. It's the medical terminology that we use, hypertension. But in layman language, you can say okay, people that know about blood pressure can talk about being elevated or being low. Okay, so that's we need to clear
Okay.
that aspect. So anyone that is being said to have a high blood pressure is also
Having
likely to
hypertension.
be diagnosed of hypertension. I
Likely
needed to say
or is
that
having.
that way. Likely, yes. I needed to say that because there are levels. So as I was explaining the meaning of blood pressure and high blood pressure now,
Okay.
I needed to say that because a first reading of elevated blood pressure does not automatically mean that an individual is hypertensive. I need to say that. For example, if an individual has a blood pressure of 130/80,
Okay.
there are different schools of thought when it comes to the readings. The systolic, for some, they say 130/80. Others, now we are hearing about 120/80. Anything above that being said to be elevated blood pressure.
So what is the normal?
Whatever it is,
What is the normal
it shouldn't
rate?
be. Yes, normal should be less than 20, say 90 to 120 for systolic, and then 60 to 90 for diastolic.
Please, can you come again? 60.
That's the lower. Okay, the higher rating to 90. Yes, some people have their diastolic low as well. That's the range for the diastolic. That's the lower reading.
Do we have people who are diastolic and we have people who are, or in general, as human?
No, that is the way the blood pressure is read.
Okay.
That has to do with the activity of the heart. Now, when the heart pumps blood, the systolic. When there's relaxation of the heart, the diastolic. That's
okay.
the way we measure it. So
Alright.
everyone has those readings. That's why we say it as 120/80. So 120/80.
That's normal.
Yes, anything around that. Okay, for some people, they can even have as low as 90/60. But if it begins to go below that, of course, that's hypotension. But anything above 120, or some people say 130/90, anything above that is hypertension.
Anything above
Okay,
130
but I am
hypertension.
careful to over 80. Yes, I'm careful to say hypertension because for me as a medical doctor, I won't just label a patient as hypertensive or an individual as hypertensive because of such a reading. There are so many other things I need to check. I will have to repeat that measurement and be sure that we have two readings that is really saying maybe 140/90, 140 or 150/100. Then I will be concerned. So, but some people, have other blood pressure monitoring. So if an individual checks their blood pressure at home, where we expect that they are normally rested, and it is reading as high as 140/90, 150/90, 150/100. Now that we are talking about an individual with hypertension. But your doctor must make that diagnosis, not just you making the diagnosis. So that's why people must seek doctors' assessment, proper evaluation. I hope I've been able to.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes. Let's still go further in this conversation. It's getting really
Okay. So yes, talking about
educative.
statistics. Yes, I need to mention that I am happy that family Super FM, a family-oriented station, not just for entertainment, for education. This is a very important topic we are talking about this morning, and I'm passionate about this. And the fact is that the statistics are there, and the likelihood of the increasing in numbers, the prevalence. You got the statistics, some as high as 50%, others as low as 20, 18, but on the average, it's about 30% in Nigeria. So of the whole population all over the world, about 1.3 billion people are actually said to be affected by hypertension.
Now, there's this critical aspect of this hypertension I want us to look at today. It's shocking how young people. Recently, I used to go to a store somewhere around Bagada, and then it's been a while. I went there about 2 months ago. When I went there recently, I was told the woman is late, and I said, why? What happened? This woman is just about 40s. She's in her 40s, and I said, that she just slumped and died. It was so disheartening. It's shocking how young people in their 20s, early 30s have hypertension. Why is this so? Is hypertension for young people? Why is it so? Someone in 20s, 30s having hypertension?
Thank you, sir, for that. Sometimes it's actually so that we get to see people with complications, and some don't have opportunity to be managed for complications. And of course, the end of that complication for people is death. Some people say on this side that anything can kill a man, and it's something that will kill a man, but it doesn't have to be hypertension, and it doesn't have to be a painful death. It doesn't have to be a sudden death. It doesn't have to be the death of a young person. So while we are having these scenarios now, first, I must say, the awareness, just like we know, is not enough. And so we must do more, as we are doing this morning. But majorly, the change in lifestyle.
That is what causes all this sudden death.
There's the genetic factor.
Okay.
So when you talk about sudden death, I'm getting there. When we talk about sudden death, there could be different causes. It could be a cardiac arrest, it could be a heart attack, it could be an individual who suffered a stroke, hemorrhagic stroke, and the bleeding just occurred and the individual just died. But before that point, there are usually signs or symptoms, even though hypertension is known and described as the silent killer. It is described as silent killer. So the individual being affected or having elevated blood pressure does not know unless they check. Some people talk about some symptoms. So talking about lifestyle, risk factors, apart from genetics, the African region, the blacks, there's this description about we actually retain salt more than the Western region, the whites. But apart from that an individual's generation, a parent, grandparents had hypertension does not automatically mean that they are going to become hypertensive or have elevated blood pressure. The gene, but there are other factors which I will mention now, and they lead to sudden death if not managed appropriately. Right, now, those factors include we've known about increasing age. That's a natural factor. There's nothing we can do about that. We call it non-modifiable factor. That's non-modifiable. The race, we can't modify anything. You're already member of this African race. Okay, but lifestyle, they are modifiable factors, including this recent and increasing sedentary lifestyle. People work remotely now. We can do so much with your phone, with your laptop, with your desktop, whatever it is, your device. You can sit there. People work while on the move.
Let me comment.
While in traffic.
Let's say that sitting too much too is also a factor.
That leads to the possibility of becoming overweight and obese, which are linked to hypertension. I will going to
Wow.
get to some. I will just give some brief explanation of how this happens.
All right.
So it's not just one factor. So it's a combination of factors, and that also includes diet. So there's a tendency for an individual who is seated at their laptop or desktop in their office to also order for some food from the restaurant.
Mm.
No, occasionally people can indulge, but if you have a risk factor, a genetic factor, a family history of hypertension, you are not the one. I mean, such an individual should not be the one that would be engaging daily in taking processed foods, fast foods, fried foods, highly laden with salt. You know, those things are tasty. I'm not denying the fact that they are tasty, okay? And I take them myself. But we have to be conscious of this, that high salt intake, sodium intake is one risk factor. Low potassium intake. You know, people don't take fruits as they have. And interestingly, on this side, people talk about the high price of fruits. Now, but people are not taking that, but they can pay so much for fast food. So I'm talking with some passion here because we talk about these things, but we need to get to doing this.
Yeah, the reality, yes. Daily. I get it.
Yes, take food daily. People have to put some action to this. That is the way to prevent this issue of sudden death, which moves the consulting. Doctor, I'm not stressed. I've not actually been stressed. So why is my blood pressure high? So it's not just about stress. Stress factor is there. Some people have emotional stress, physical stress, work-related stress, environmental stress. Different stress factors can also trigger the blood pressure. And sedentary lifestyle also includes that, of course, the individual is not exercising. It's not just about exercising. It is about not moving at all. The expected thing is to stand and then take a walk, 10 minutes stretch and all. We'll go into details of other.
I tell you, I know some people who can't even walk for 2 minutes. Distance. I tell you, oh please, I'm not suffering. They see it as suffering. They see it as torture. Please, I can drive my way there. I can do this. I can do that. All of these conversations right here. Well, Lagos, let me just let you know that we're live on Facebook and YouTube at Super FM Lagos. Yes, we're live on Facebook and YouTube at Super FM Lagos. Yes, join the conversation. You can also join the conversation right there by calling us via phone lines. We'll be dishing out right now. You call us via the phone lines or drop a message via WhatsApp. I know a lot of Nigerians have so much questions to ask our guest, our doctor, today. We're talking about hypertension because every time we have sudden death, every time just somebody slow and die. Every time
increasing cases, increasing. Yes.
Every day.
We need to. Yes, it happens.
Every day,
especially young people. So
yes. And
yes,
it burns my mind. It disturbs my mind of this alarming rise in sudden death.
They are actually preventable deaths. They are. People say it's God's will. God has done his part by giving us life and helping us to be secured. But we have a responsibility. We are responsible to take care of this body. So some people actually have their hearts just stopped suddenly. And there would have actually been some processes ongoing before that point. So that's why you see somebody at a party just dancing,
and then suddenly just
walking, or in the office. Yes, that's what happens. So people are not.
This happened to a friend of mine. It happened to a friend of mine. The mother did just in a party while dancing. Honestly, in a party while dancing in Lagos, just suddenly slumped, and then that was it. So painful. This epidemic of slumping and dying. Please, how can one get rid of this? How can Nigeria just bring us up to date with what should Nigerians do to be careful, to be aware of all of this slumping and dying?
Thank you so much, sir, for that question. Yes. It's a very sensitive matter, and for people who have actually lost their ones for this reason, I mean, it's sad. It may bring some memories, but we need to know that we can prevent similar situation. Okay, so we need to look at the origin. I'm talking about the risk factors, and then how we can prevent this sudden death. Like I said, it's a progression. So when an individual increases, I mean, is just passionate about those tasty things. I talk about processed foods, high salt laden foods, then the individual is at risk of having elevated blood pressure. An individual who consumes a lot of fatty foods,
Hmm.
fried meat, chicken, oil, frying oil. Thank God for the advent of air fryers now, and other modes cooking, which is preferable, okay, to frying. Of course, occasionally we enjoy, but it shouldn't be a pattern of life. Okay,
Frying foods are
then
not
I
good
talk about
for the health.
you said frying foods at home.
No, I'm asking. You said
Fry,
party foods, frying meat, and all of this. I'm
yes,
asking. This is a
fatty,
frying
yes,
foods are
yes,
not good for the health.
foods, yes, a lot of risk, damage, highly oxidative process, damage to the blood vessels, damage to the cells. I mean, we should also talk about smoking, alcohol intake. These are all other risk factors.
So,
This damage the
so
blood vessels.
our meat
So
and
for
all is just best boiled, processed, and all. No frying. That's what you're saying.
yeah, yes, cooking is better. It's just for the taste that we talk about frying, for preservation, all that. But preferable fish, vegetables, fruits, include this more in your diet.
Include
All these fruits,
include what?
vegetables, they
Sorry, include
contain a
beef.
high level of potassium. Bananas, vegetables, watermelon, carrots, leafy greens, majorly, whole grains, nuts, nuts, cashew nuts. These are important in our meals. Some of these things are not really actually tasty. When it's about, so it's not really about taste. But some are sweet, of course, banana sometimes, but there are other things that
Well,
we can do.
you mentioned granite. Somebody
Reduce,
was telling me granite is is opposite of what you were saying. But anyway, go ahead with the conversation.
of course, fries. No, of course, whatever I'm saying, there's the need for moderation.
Okay, okay.
So even if you are consuming if it's water you are taking, just water. I mean, we have recommendations on the average of 3 liters for daily consumption. Okay, so but if an individual decides to take 4 liters, 5 liters, of course we know there will be some changes in the process. So I'm talking about moderation, but these are normally healthy foods, good for the heart. Apples, these are very, very important. They have high antioxidative properties that will help to deal with the stress that comes upon the blood vessels. So another thing is this high level of cholesterol. So inactivity, the diet tendency, increasing age, especially in women, there's there's a tendency to actually have high levels of cholesterol. So checking all these things, apart from just trying to maintain that lifestyle, there's a need to go for checkup. As an adult, you should be having your normal checkup. In this environment, okay, generally we say from the age of 40 and above, but if you have a family history, genetic factor, and you already have some risk factors like being overweight, obesity, then you should start your annual checks earlier than 40. 30, just like you have said, we having people in their 20s, people in their 30s having hypertension. So those are the things that can be done, including exercise, physical activity. We must be moving, we must be stretching. Sometimes I'm happy when I see people moving along the road, taking a walk in the morning, and it's just 30 minutes of brisk walking exercise. So I'm always excited. So we don't need to wait till we have their complications before we start doing these things. I have a skipping rope in my house. I have some stretching exercises. I have some movements that I do. You don't necessarily have to. Some people can have to, afford, and then in terms of time, we must also create time really to go to the gym. Okay.
Right.
So, and if you have that opportunity, why not? Of course, before you get to the gym, there is something we call exercise prescription. So your doctor should assess you and be sure of what kind of exercise you will benefit from. So those
All
are
right.
different aspects that need to be considered to prevent sudden death.
All right.
So
Thank
because
you.
sudden death does not just happen, it's not
Happen.
just oh okay, like people say. No, we do not deny the fact that there is spiritual, but there are most of these are actually tied to lifestyle and attitude towards health.
All right, quickly,
Thank
let's
you.
open the phone lines. Lagos, yes, you can be part of this conversation right here on Spotlight on Super FM 92.7. The callers 0802 502 7711. 0802 502 7711. Or you can call 0705 0705 690 0927. 0705 690 0927. In case you have questions for our doctor, 090705 690 0927. Or you can send us a message via that WhatsApp, via that number. You can send us a message on WhatsApp via that number 0705 6900 927. 0705 6900 927. The other lines is 0802 978 8003. 0802 978 8003. Yes, those are the numbers to call and be part of the conversation right here on Spotlight on Super FM 92.7. Yes, health is wealth. Definitely. That's our concern also
Yes.
on Super FM 92.7. Now, one question in our mind. How deadly or how threatening is hypertension? Because you see some people who are very healthy, great physique, huge physique, and all that, telling you, oh, they are strong and they can fight anybody, they can do anything, they can carry anything. But then, having hypertension, is that possible? How deadly, how threatening is hypertension?
How threatening? I didn't get that, please. Can you?
How deadly or threatening is
Deadly. Okay,
hypertension?
how deadly? Okay. Yes, it's deadly, but how deadly is the question now? Now, it is the leading cause of cardiovascular disease, heart attack, cardiac arrest, stroke. It's actually responsible for half of the cases. Stroke. Okay, so and if nothing is done to manage hypertension, these complications will set in. Kidney failure, renal failure. People develop chronic renal failure from different sources. Of course, I must also mention the high level of consumption of those sachet things around this environment. Talking about alcohol, herbal concussions. So, talking about how deadly it is. As long as these habits are still ongoing in our environment or in the life of an individual, I mean, the risk increases. Apart from age factor, age increasing, the genetic factor I mentioned, the lifestyle, if it's not changed, the risk of developing hypertension and then the risk of these complications rises. These complications will rise and then the risk of having a sudden death. So now, those that are at risk of developing complications are those who are not doing these things that I mentioned, those who refuse to also follow the plan. And I say follow the plan when it comes to recommendations by their doctor. Some people have actually received this diagnosis, they rejected it, but there's nothing wrong about praying about it, dealing with it spiritually, but you should be doing the needful. Take your medications. So it is as deadly as you can think in terms of complications. So some people just stop taking medications for some weeks, for some months. Some people just few days, and then they develop a stroke, and then leave them incapacitated, leave them with some disability. They now need support. They are not able to do at that kind age. They are not able to do the needful anymore. It affects families. It affects communities. It affects the workplace. It affects nations. Okay, so you can see the effects of hypertension on not just the individual, on families, the community,
All right, let's
you
take this
know,
call. Let's take this
and
call, doctor.
on the
Hello.
nation.
Let's take this call. Hello, good
Okay,
morning.
thank you.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
Divine.
What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
My name is Divine.
Ifeanyi from where?
Good morning.
From Badagry.
Ifeanyi from Badagry, please ask your question. Ifeanyi, go ahead. Please ask your question.
What question?
Okay,
Good morning,
I guess you're not
Ifeanyi.
ready. He's not ready for us. Okay, yes, the number is
Oh, okay.
0802 978 8003. 0802 978 8003. Or you can call 0802 502 7711. 0802 502 7711 in our dear country, Nigeria. Who do we have there? Hello? Okay, please call us back. Let's talk this morning. Health is definitely a wealth.